Hello, hello, all. Thank you for joining us again on the Almost Brothers podcast. Hey, will you do us a favor? If this podcast has meant something to you and encouraged you, will you consider becoming a monthly supporter? You could do $3, $5, $8, or $10 a month. What this does is this helps financially support the podcast so that we can continue to put out content and help better serve you. So if you would, down in the show notes, you can click the link, support, and become a monthly member. We love you. New episode coming your way. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Almost Brothers podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the blame game. Not the name game, the blame game. Why do we always blame everyone else but ourselves? Coming up. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. Thank you for joining us yet again today. How's it going, Jeremiah?
Man, it's going good. That energy drink must be working. That was a lot of what's up.
It's kicking in. We had to go ahead and push record because we were having some good conversation here, and we just wanted to get a little bit of this on. So before we jump into today's topic, let's just continue on with kind of what we were talking about, man. I know you were talking about just kind of what you feel led into. You know, we started this class Sunday night, and you know, you just kind of talk, you know, share your heart about where you see yourself, you know, in the ministry.
Well, yeah, like you said, we just started school of ministry here, and man, like right out of the gate, the first thing he talked about was how to minister to somebody to altar, somebody who's went forward. And my wife and I have been talking about this lately because sometimes I feel led to go up there and pray for someone, but either I don't know them really personally, or I don't know what they're going through. And so I allow that to hold me back. And I was just talking about this with Missy about how I sometimes want to go pray with people and I don't know how to go do that. And then, so in the first night of school ministry, that's what he breaks down, is how to get up there and I guess the best thing to do is talk to them.
Yeah.
And I never think about that. I always think, well, they're up there praying. I don't want to go up there and interrupt them,
right? But
you do want to, there's something in you that wants to go pray with them.
Yeah.
Then you don't know what to pray about. So it was really cool how you broke that down.
Oh yeah.
And kind of gave us some 101, like this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And it's going to help me.
Oh yeah. And I think everybody, I mean, you know, cause almost everybody there kind of had a question and a concern about how exactly to initiate that, you know, the prayer. Like, what do you say? Because not everybody is comfortable with speaking at all in front of people, but also with people that you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't want to be a hindrance to what God is doing, but also, you know, you want to be there for your brother or sister. So, I thought it was amazing. And me and Richard kind of talked about it. It was like, you know, as Pastor was I love being in tune with Pastor, you know, where his heart is and where his mind is. And, you know, as he was speaking, you know, I've felt things to say, and as I felt it, he would say it, and I'm like, yes. And I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
And it would get me excited. So it's good to know that me and him our hearts are in tune with each other, because he's a spiritual father to me. You know, he has been for a long time. So, oh man, it's just so awesome, and I'm excited, and just the turnout really surprised me.
Yeah, me too.
Like I
thought it was going to be a small group.
Yeah.
And what did we have, 30 something, 40 people there? It was a lot of people.
So it was for that to show up and to say, hey, I'm ready to serve. I'm ready to, you know, to do this and to learn the best ways to be able to serve our church and our community, you know, because it's not just about our church, but it's just about anybody you come into contact with.
Right. And we, you know, you and I both have really bought into this vision that Pastor has of the spiritual tsunami that he keeps speaking about. And it's not only him. I've heard other people in this area say they've had that similar vision. Our buddy Dalton, who was on a couple of weeks ago with us, he had that same exact vision. He was down there at the golf course in Malden.
And
he said just a sea of people, lined up wanting to get into this struggles group and stuff. And so I think God's really doing something, here. But I think he's going to prepare his people to be able to handle that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on. I think that's what we're right in the middle of right now.
Absolutely. Because if a tsunami is coming, you better know how to swim.
That's right.
And if you know how to swim, you better be prepared to help somebody that doesn't know.
You're going to need some lifeguards.
That's exactly right.
Life coaches, whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man. So,
because I think that's where we're at. And I heard somebody speak up in class last night that maybe there's a how do I say this? We have an issue not with just getting people saved, but the discipleship part.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. That is the important part, because you can be in a church service and God can really be dealing with your heart, and you make that walk up front and you accept Christ, but then what?
Yeah.
And that's where we need to have men and women in the church that are willing to step up and dedicate some of that time to helping these young, babes in Christ learn to walk. And because if you don't, then what have you really done for them?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not about numbers of, we got so and so many saved or whatever, so many baptized. We want to continue that with them and walk with them and teach them how to walk.
Yeah. It was my message New Year's Eve, and again, that was cool hearing that. And it's kind of confirmation of God saying, all right, Michael, you're on the right path, because that's why I spoke on New Year's Eve, just talking about, that 1 Timothy 4:12 about being young, don't look down on yourself because you're young. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's not just for young of age, it's for young in the Lord.
Yep.
And it's like, that's easy bait for the enemy to be able to get you, right as soon as you get saved, or you've only been saved a few months. It's easy for him to discourage you and to get you off of that path that you're on. So that's our job as mature Christians and as people who've been in this for a while, is to help mentor them and help them on their walk along. So it was cool to hear that be brought up last night, and I just look so forward to it, and it's awesome. And again, the turnout is just going to be great, because we need all hands on deck for for what the Lord is about to do in our communities, and I believe that's everywhere. Everywhere needs to prepare, and that we've heard it said for years and years, but we are closer now than we've ever been, and we really got to prepare ourselves, but also prepare our flock and people that are around us. So, oh man, I'm excited. Yeah, definitely excited for this one, because this one should hit every single person. I know it hits us.
Yes.
Just the blame game, man. Just why do we do that? Just blame every.
Why is it so difficult to take ownership?
My goodness gracious, it really is, and it seems like the ones that we blame most of the time, if we're not blaming God, which usually he's the very first one that anybody, you could be the biggest atheist, and then you all of a sudden, why would God let this happen? Like, wait, I thought you don't believe in that. But for me, it's always the ones closest to me that kind of get the brunt of that. Something happens that is my fault, that I've went down this road, and then something has happened, and it's them that get the brunt of my anger, or them that get the blame for it. And is it like that for you, man? I have to go to James and tell her, like, hey babe, I'm sorry you're getting, I misplaced something in the house. This is the biggest. She's going to be screaming. I can't believe I'm admitting this, but like, if something is misplaced at the house, she's always the first one I blame. And then I find it and I'm like, oh crap, I did put that there. my bad, babe. Okay, my fault. Or like, I'll be missing my debit card or something. I'm like, babe, you had my debit card. Like, where's it at? Where's it? She's like, I didn't have it. I'm like, yeah, you did. It's always in my wallet. And then like, I'll go to my jeans and find it in my jeans. I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry, babe.
Yeah, it's easy to blame the ones closest to us. I think Ben gets the brunt of mine.
Yeah,
like I don't know I don't know what's going on here. It's got to be Ben's fault. But
isn't that why last time when Mrs. like, Ben?
Yes, it didn't work here. But I think it's just easier to blame those that are closest to us. Sometimes my wife have to remind me that that it's my job as a husband and a father to treat them the same way I do a stranger or somebody that I don't know as well. A lot of times, I would get upset with them about something that I would never get upset at a member, a friend here from the church or something.
Yeah.
That would be no big deal, but it's easier to get a little more, upset with those that are closest to you. But like you start off saying about blaming God, we were listening to a sermon by Robert Madu, and he gave the example of the boy playing in the street, and he keeps telling him, like, you can't play in the street, you're going to get hit, stay out of the street. And this goes on, and eventually the kid gets hit, and he's mad at his dad. Like, why'd you let me get hit in the street? He's like, man, I've been telling you to get out of the street. And, that's what we do with God. Sometimes he'll be warning us against something or telling us not to do something, and we choose to do it anyway because we know best. And then when the wheels fall off, it's like, God, why'd you allow that to happen to me?
Yeah.
And so that's why I think this hits home with everybody, or I think it should, because if we're honest with ourselves, then we can pinpoint areas in our life where we've been disobedient to the voice of God. And as a result of that, bad things have happened.
Oh, absolutely.
And so it's just, I think it's a huge thing to be able to recognize that and take ownership of that. Yeah. Because once you begin to take ownership of that, then you can start listening to the voice of God and doing things that prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
just, it's so easy. I mean, I was an addict and alcoholic for years, and it was never my fault.
Yeah.
It was always somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if I was, drunk and driving, 20 miles an hour with the speed limit and swerving through a school zone, and I get a ticket, like, well, it's the cop's fault.
Yeah.
No, it's not the cop's fault.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just that's an extreme example. I've never gotten drunk in a school zone, but what I'm saying is that's the way it can be in life.
That's how people are. Like, that's literally how people are. It's like, no, that was your own dumb fault.
Right.
Like, oh, the cop was just picking on me. Like, weren't you going 50?
Yeah, I got a bullseye on me. Well,
yeah.
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
Yep.
And and sometimes, being on the right side of that, the devil or the enemy can put a bullseye on you, just for being a warrior and a prayer warrior, whatever, a mighty man of God. You can get a bullseye on your back for doing the right thing.
Yep.
But we're above that. We know that we're great. Greater is he that is in me than he is in the world. So we know that we're above that, but you can be targeted sometimes, feel like that everybody's against you, but it ain't God's fault.
Yeah. Oh man, it reminds me. I can't remember what movie it is, but it's a little black kid, and he like throws something at somebody and hits them in the face with it. Like, yo, why did you do that? He's like, oh, it's because I'm black. It's like, no, because you threw it. Like,
you did it.
And that's how we get defensive almost.
Mm-hmm.
The more it's our fault, and the more defensive we get to God or to whoever it may be. Just like, oh, I can't believe. And I think the hardest thing for me is in a situation where it's multiple people's fault.
Mm-hmm.
I want to blame everybody in that but me. I don't want to take ownership for my fault in what happened. Mm-hmm. Especially when me and Jamie were having problems, it was always, oh, she nags, or she does this, or she does this, or she, even if it may be almost completely their fault, there's something that I could have done differently.
Right.
So I think that every situation like that, there's a choice that we could have made, or something better that we could have said, or something that we could have done to change that, So I think looking at every situation, no matter, Pastor's really good at this, because I asked him a while back just kind of how he deals with church hurt. And he said, well, first of all, I try to examine like what I could have done differently. Even if it's completely that other person's fault, there's something that I could have done better. Mm-hmm. So he said he tries to learn from that and then deal with it from him, and then work through it that way. And I'm like, man, that's so true. It's easy to say, but so hard to do.
Yeah. And to take that a step further, most of the time, if you're looking at someone else and there's something that's really bothering you, something they're doing that's really aggravating, there's probably a reflection of something inside of yourself.
Yep.
And 9 times out of 10, that's true. Mm-hmm. If I'm really getting, upset with somebody else or blaming them, like they shouldn't act like that, they shouldn't do that, it's probably something that I did. Yeah. That, or something that I would handle a situation the same way. So I think that the Holy Spirit will reveal that to us so that we can work on ourselves.
Yeah.
Because ultimately it's about working on ourselves. And I'm not saying it's about us, like it's a self-centered thing, but it is about us of working on ourselves so that we can be that image of Christ that we're called to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Just every day, just trying to be better than like, man, I could work on this from yesterday. Let's, and I think that's the way that anybody should look at it. No matter how good of a person you feel that you are, there's always something that you can work on. It's like, Jordan said, he's going to practice and learn and listen to coaches until he stopped playing, no matter how good he felt or, he's the greatest ever, period. That's a fact. That's mic drop. But he said, he was always trying to strive and be better and better and better and better because we never reached that peak of just perfection. So I think that looking at those situations and going, okay, let's see what I could have done different. I think that's what that is just kind of working on yourself. And like you said, it's not that self-centered, but it's definitely self-examination.
Right. That's a good word for that.
Yeah. So sometimes I throw them.
You went to school today,
That's
didn't you?
right. That's AT work. Yes, I did. Man, they called me at 7:30 this morning.
Oh, man.
Y'all didn't give a brother no time to get ready, did you? Like, good Lord. I had to run around. It was probably the quickest shower I've ever taken.
I don't even think Dexter's back in school yet.
Are they not really?
I think they'll go back tomorrow. Well, I know they do.
Oh, okay. Tomorrow. Nice. See, and my plan for today was to go to Dexter and Bernie and put my application in. So I'll have those three schools, Dexter, Bernie, and Malden, to sub at. But Malden called me in, so called me in yesterday and tomorrow. So
Cool.
Keep calling me. Yes. They sub me absolutely.
You love that, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Like the vice principal, he'll text me and be like, hey, do you want to work tomorrow? I'm like, do porcupines kiss carefully? So I text him that, and he's just sitting back, ha, ha, ha. I'm like, yes.
The answer's yes.
The answer's yes. Just in case you didn't understand that. Yeah. Yeah, but man, I know I think this is something that really, especially in the year that we live in the days that we live in, is so hard as a societal norm. It's so hard to take self-responsibility. Everything is somebody else's fault.
Yep.
If you're Black, it's because of the white people. If you're white, it's because of the black people. If you're a man, it's because of women. If you're a woman, it's because of man, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. It's somebody else's fault that your life is the way it is.
Right.
But I think it's time that we've got to stop and say, hey, what can I do to change this? Sometimes you're dealt a bad hand. Sometimes, you're from the gutter and it's harder for you than it is for some other people. That's just what you have to deal with. Like, look yourself in the mirror and say, what can I do to get myself out of this?
Right.
And I think it's the hardest thing to do because it's so easy and it's so acceptable to blame everything.
Yeah, and it's instilled at an extremely young age. I mean, I look at Max, and he got in the truck yesterday. This is a pretty good example of this. Sunday after church, we're getting ready to go eat. And I look back in the back seat and he's got this cup of cotton candy just going to town, man. And I'm like, what are you doing? Give me that. And he's like, well, Ben gave it to me, and then, so, I mean, as a 6-year-old, that he's already learned that. Yeah. Well, that's not my fault.
Yeah.
My brother gave it to me. Yeah. My brother's 16 years old. Yeah. I mean, they're all having birthdays, man. It's hard to keep up. He just turned 16 the 29th. So anyhow, it's just like, but it's something that kids learn at a really young age.
Yeah.
Don't hit your sister. She hit me first.
Yep.
Don't do this. Well, and it's just, so it's a maturity thing to get to a place where you don't just immediately point the finger.
That's good. Yeah.
And I've done a lot of work. Well, my story, and I've shared it on the podcast. I went through treatment and stuff like that, and battled addiction. But getting out of that mindset is so difficult because you just want to play the victim card. You want to blame everybody else. You want to do whatever it takes just to continue down the road that you're on. You know what I mean? And it's nobody. It's not your fault. And it's just, man, it's really hard to get out of that.
Yeah.
And it's hard for anybody to get out of it.
Oh, absolutely. And at some point, you've got to say no. Like, you've got the choice to do it or to not. I understand some people, they're more susceptible to addiction. But at some point, you've got to look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm going to choose not to do that. I hate people. Oh, well, my parents smoked, so that's why I smoke. No, you smoke because you choose to get up and you choose to smoke.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, you may be more susceptible to getting addicted to it, but you choose to do that. You can choose to do your best to stop.
Right.
People do it every day.
Right. And, it goes it goes back to the generational curses, which I totally believe.
Yeah.
I believe that is a real thing. And I heard Pastor Bolin preach a sermon one time on being bent in a certain direction, which is the same thing. It's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But we're born with this inclination to go in a certain direction.
Yeah.
And once you recognize that, then all you have to do is not, be aware of that and not do that.
Yeah.
But it is hard, and I'm not downplaying it because I lived in it for a long time.
Yeah.
But there comes a time whenever you're like, okay, look, I don't want it to be this way anymore.
Yeah.
And then you take responsibility for that. And then that's when you ask God to help you break these curses, and you're going to be the one that, the buck stops here.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that my granddaddy and my great granddaddy and my daddy and everybody was alcoholics. We're not anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so, that's what I want to do for my family. I have daughters, and, I've got some kids that have been grafted in now that are mine. And it's like, that's the least I can do for them, is to make it to where they don't have to be the one to overcome. It's easier for me to do it.
Yeah.
And it's my job to do it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be on my kids. I don't want it to be what it was for me times 7 or whatever on them. And now it's up to them to do it, or their kids are going to go through it. You know what I mean? Like, when you look at the bigger picture and stop blaming everybody else and just be like, what can I do to make it better for my family and for myself? And how would God want me to handle this? Then the decisions get easier.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's that first step of saying, okay, what has happened? I may have been dealt a bad hand, but you know what? I'm going to decide to change. And that's the point at when you could say, okay, now I need help getting this first step.
Yes. And it's a process too.
Yeah.
It's not something that just at the snap of the fingers.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you wake up one day and everything is better.
Yeah.
It's a slow process sometimes. Yeah. And it's a hard one, because whenever you get over one mountain, it's like there's another one waiting for you. Yeah. You're getting ready to go to the Rockies.
Oh,
so you're gonna know that you get, you see that giant mountain, you get over it, and they're like, well, there's just another one, and then there's just another one. And then sometimes you're going to choose to kind of go around that mountain a little while and then finally get, over it. But that process is where you need people in your life to hold you accountable, and you need to pray for you, and you need to support you, and you need to get in church and serve. All these things that we talk about on this podcast, just roll them all up into a ball and start practicing some of this stuff. And that is the process. Yeah. We kind of sometimes run out of things to talk about on here. Sometimes we repeat things that we've talked about before, but because it's important. Yeah. So you may hear it today and it sound different or mean something different than it did, 6 months ago when you heard it. But that's just, the way it's going to be doing this, but I just feel like right now that this is, in this season we're in right now, that people just need to understand that the process is necessary, and not to despise it, but to embrace it, learn what you can through it, and then just, do that for a year and then look back. Yeah. Absolutely. And see what God's done for you, and see how much you've matured, and see how much, God's provision has been in your life, and how he's provided for you, and how he put people in your life, Yeah. Man. Yeah. Cause I think about my own life, and it chokes me up a little bit. Yeah. Because he's done that for me. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And he's using you to change people's lives, man. That's what's so great about it is that you've went through this. You're not just talking about it. You're not just on a pedestal telling people, hey, this is how you do it. This is how you're saying, I'm there. I've been there. I know where you're at. I know where I'm at now. I know the path you need to take. Like, just open your ears and listen, and like, I can help you get through this. And that's the beautiful thing, man, is, that's kind of like what we were talking about at the open of the podcast is, where you see yourself, just helping people that you see yourself in, that you see struggling with those same things. And hey, look, I've got the secret. I've got the map. I know the way to get there, and so many times we want to go around, you kind of hit on it, go around that same mountain time and time again, because this time it's going to be different. Yes. This time I've got control of it. This time I'm going to do things different. And we fall, we get mad, and we go and we do it again. We fall and we get mad. And why do we continuously do that? Like, I think it's a pride thing. Yes. That we say, you know what, this tripped me up last time, I'm not going to let it do it again. And then it does it again. And you say, okay, it got me those first 2 times, but this time I'm going to be strong enough to overcome it. And I think with especially like drugs and alcohol, that's how a lot of people's mindset is. It's like, well, I was addicted to it then, but now I could do a little bit and not get addicted because I'm stronger. And then they fall back into that same trap, and it's over and over.
Right. Well, and you can say the same thing if it's pornography, or if it's anger, or if it's gossiping, or if it's picket, whatever. It's like it's one of the things where once God's delivered you from that, and you see the wrong in it, then you can't go back and dabble in it.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
But I think that's just part of our nature whether it's comfortable or whether it's whatever it's like the dog going back to its own vomit. You know, Jesus tells that parable, or tells that story. And it's like, that's really how we are. And I don't know why. Yeah. I really don't know why we're like that.
Yeah.
But we do. We tend to want to go back to that. And, I'm in a place now, thank God, that I don't want to go back to Egypt.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back to being a slave. I don't want to just sin, and I don't want to be in bondage anymore. And I love the freedom and the liberty that I have in Christ.
Yeah. That's
good. I want that for everybody.
Man.
I want that for everybody.
Come on. I ain't saying nothing else. I'm letting you finish it out. Well,
are we done? Is that a mic drop?
Killing it. Oh my God, bring the heat.
I don't know.
We do. I say I'm not going to say nothing else now. So.
I knew that.
But we really do. We want to encourage our listeners that we know that we all struggle. We all struggle with something. There's something that we all tend to fall over, and we all tend to struggle with. And like we said, it could be porn, it could be drugs or alcohol, it could be anger, it could be lying, it could be whatever it may be. Just know that we know, we feel you. We know how it is to be in that dirt and in that mud and muck. And just know that there's a way out. There's a man named Jesus that loves you right where you're at. If you're listening to this and you've got a needle in your arm, he loves you right where you're at.
That's right.
He's got a better plan for your life. If you're one of those, I told Richard kind of talked about it, you're one of those that say you're a godly person, but you've got that thing that you go home and that you know you struggle with. You know that you have it. Maybe behind closed doors, nobody knows about it. Know that God loves you right where you're at.
That's right.
He's got a better plan for you than where you're at right now. Yes. And we just want this to encourage you, to lift your spirits, and for you to use us, our crappy past, as an example to be able to get out of that and to know that, hey, there's hope. Look what happened. Look where Jeremiah's at now. You can be that person, and we don't ever want it to seem like we're hey, this is what you do. This is what you do. This is us talking about our lives and how we get through the things and how we've got to where we are. So just be encouraged and know that we love you, but most of all, God loves you.
Amen. And also remember, if you don't have a home church, come check us out at the Lighthouse in Dexter. It's 8:30 in the parking lot, 10 o'clock inside. We love y'all.